Hail Hail and welcome to the Temporary Stand podcast, edition number 32, and we are a Hail Hail media production. Well, a few of the lads get back on the Skype and we sit down and have a wee look back at our week in Celtic. We start off with the win over Spartak and the qualification for the last 16 once again. We follow that up with a wee look at the Killie game and what we learned for the match. Finish up with a wee natter about Tictalk, dodgy buses and cheapskate Belfast punters. As always, I hope you enjoyed the edition, so nothing left for me to say but see you on the other side.
Okay everybody, hello and welcome to the Temporary Stand podcast number 31, and tonight from sunny Campus Lang is Scotty.
How you doing, gents?
From south of the border down Mexico way, it's Ricardo.
Good evening.
And from a Union Jack ridden North Belfast, it's Johnser.
How's it going?
Not too bad. Well lads, it's been a busy week for everybody in Timdom. Plenty happening, so plenty to chat about. I'm going to batter straight in. I suppose with a wee bit of a reflective look back on the midweek events at Celtic Park and the qualification of the Champions League. Richie, you were there. Can you remember much of it?
I remember most of it, despite the Jaeger bombs that we were drinking in the brazen heat before the game. It was brilliant. The atmosphere, I thought, wasn't as good as I thought it would be, but I was talking to other people who were there and they were saying it was brilliant, so maybe I was just, and because we were sitting at the very back row with the Jocks team, maybe you don't get it as much, but it was brilliant result. You know, I thought the performance wasn't all that good, but it was a hard night and they're a decent team, so brilliant achievement to get to the last 16 and for a young team like us, and I was delighted, so just kind of wait for the draw and see where we're going to end up next.
Fair enough. Scotty, what was your thoughts on the match?
I just see what Richie's saying. I think it was the crowd were nervous, understandably so, especially when people start telling me lies halfway through and lead you to believe that Barcelona have scored. But
was this hold on, before you move off that, was this part of this the cheer that went around? Because you texted me asking the score.
No idea. Everybody started cheering as you do, like back in the old days now where you used to play the Huns at 3 o'clock and that. But everybody started dancing about, and everybody's in our whole row. There was a wee guy with a massive head sitting in front of us, and we were on to him saying, "What's the score? What's the score?" And he's going, "I'm still going at 0-0." And he kept updating saying, "Still 0-0." So God knows who started it. Whoever deserves a slap in the head, could judge him by what even the players thought we'd cracked it that way. But with regards to the performance, it was a good performance. I thought it was nothing outstanding. First half it wasn't great, but the second half was professional. Emenike is an absolute smashing player. He's a beast of a man. I didn't think much of him, even though he scored 2 goals the first time. I didn't think much of him, but he ran our team ragged, and I thought it was a good performance. Nothing blindingly stunning about it, but it was professional. It was maybe got lucky at the end up, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Emenike seemed to give Ambrose a terrible game, especially in the first half, isn't that right?
He did. But even Big Wilson, he's strong, he's fast. There was a time with Wilson, he gave Wilson a good few yards, and he still managed to beat him in pace. And Wilson's no slouch running wise. He had a great game, and I think we done well to kind of win the game with him playing like that. I'm sure we'll come back to it, but the referee's performance was strange to an extent. Without being particularly bad, it was a strange performance.
I actually thought the referee wasn't too bad. John, what do you remember of the game? You were full of hell, weren't you?
I wasn't as bad as Richie or Scott. Just like to put it on record. First of all, I think the Green Brigade, they started the rumour about, seemed to came from up that direction of the stadium where the Barcelona were winning. That's just my opinion, the cheering emanated from. Regarding our performance, but first half we weren't particularly good at all. Kind of Sam Ross was running down playing dollies. He was taking 1 touch too many. Around the ball away a wee bit cheaply. First half, but second half, I thought we were very good. We looked a lot more dangerous. I think even the Sad come on, he looked a threat. I thought we were very professional performance. got lucky in the end. I don't think it was a penalty, in my opinion, or if it was a penalty, it was very soft. But to give every day of the week, we're due a bit of luck in Europe, and I think this season we've got that little bit of luck. So it was a good, solid performance, being breathtakingly creative.
Fair enough. So to go back what you were saying about this mystery cheer that went up around the crowd, Chris Cummins referred to it in his interview by saying that he thought at that stage they were, that they were cruising really because Barcelona were winning. I suppose in a penalty situation anyway, it's high pressure, but would that have helped them? Thinking we're through, so it's it's no big deal. I was kind of thinking, well, you'd rather think you were through and just have a rattle at it rather than panicking and maybe sky the ball. What do you reckon?
Well, he said in an interview that it calmed him down, and he was even thinking about doing a Panenka. But if you go and watch the game again, he didn't look like a man at ease. He was bloody white as he took a penalty, and he didn't look, and he looked relieved even when he scored it. It wasn't like a total celebrate, but it's incidental now. I mean, these guys are getting paid a hell of a lot of money. They should be able to stick a ball in the pokey for that distance. To get back to what John was saying about the penalty, we might as well talk about it now. I thought it was a European penalty. You see, it's technically a penalty because the boys ran into him with his hands up. He's made contact. I mean, so Samaras has every right to get down. Obviously, Samaras is looking for it. But what I felt, why I was brought up a referee was, me and John watched it again on Thursday afternoon, and see in the first half there was a lot of fouls he didn't give, which were European fouls, if that makes sense. I mean, there was one, Big Wilson came sliding in, and Emeneki had to jump on him, and then you think of Chris Commons, literally, I think of Chris Commons' first tackle, and he'll kill the boy and never get booked. And I thought the referee was kind of light, so to give that penalty, that surprised me. Do you know what I mean?
But it was strange too. I thought Moscow were dirty so-and-sos. Particularly Kim Kallstrom. He did that the tackle later on Commons.
Yeah,
he only got a second yellow, which was clearly a kid red offence. So that was your rate. It wasn't an odd run by the ref.
Aye, that's what I'm saying. So I thought the referee, while not being overly bad and not making any massive calls, but it was just kind of erratic, I thought, and ultimately it worked out for us. So I'm not worried about it.
I think Scott, the referee was very much in our favour, as you say. He was very lenient towards us, and I think as Celtic are very used to having referees who are a little bit harsh on them. So I was quite amazed that the referee was so lenient against us. It was a German referee, wasn't he? And he let a lot of fouls slide. And of course, he gave us. I think that referee had been a Latin referee that perhaps we'd have been looking at a few yellow cards early doors, especially the Wilson and Commons tackles.
Richie, Samaras penalty or not?
The game, I thought it was never a penalty. I was laughing. Looking back, I agree with Scott, and it's a kind of European type penalty. He doesn't get anywhere near the ball. He shoves him. It's soft because Samaras shouldn't go down. He's a big guy, but he goes down because in Moscow we did it, Benfica, and we did it, Barcelona. Any players have done the same. So in the FPL, as an old-fashioned type of football fan, we say no, that's never a penalty. But in this day and age, just put your hands up, put them on the guy's chest. What are you doing that for? So it's a penalty, technically, I suppose. So I don't care anyway, we'll take it. And Samaras was, thinking the right way. And I was just amazed the referee gave it, to be honest. I was just expecting a wave on and Samaras having to go up or even get booked. But we were delighted when he gave it, and then it was hard to watch, I suppose. I just saw the footage of Lennon. I was the same, but he couldn't watch it either. I don't think I kind of turned round as he was on the run up and saw it, and then it had a bar, and I was just delighted it went in. But we'll take it any day. I don't care. Who cares? Even if it was a dive.
I have to say, I thought it was a penalty, and especially if you watch the replay from the wide angle, all the penalty angles were very close, and they're looking at his feet and all that sort of stuff. But if you watch the wide angle where you see him running, you actually watch the player running sort of from the edge of the box. That's what the ref saw. He just saw the guy charging towards Samaras and barging. And to me, that's why.
Any area of the pitch, you wouldn't be moaning and saying that's never a free kick. It would be a free kick any area of the pitch, but because it's in the penalty box, it needs to be a certain, it needs to be a definite foul because of a penalty and therefore a goal. So, but anywhere else of the pitch, you'd say that that's a free kick. Samaras got first touch on the ball, then the guy put his hands on him, so it's a foul and it's a penalty.
Well, somebody said, sorry, John. Somebody said online a couple of days ago, "Oh, well, if I had been one of our players, what would you say?" And I said, "Well, I'd have called the defender a DICK for doing that, So, John, sorry,
I cut. Slipper against Udinese. Is that similar type of foul? And I think at the time, I know loads of Celtic fans were saying at the time, "Oh, that was never a penalty kick," but I thought technically it was a penalty, and Hooper, was naive, and it was the exact same type of. A foul, and both of them were penalties technically, and one goes for us, one goes against us.
Fair enough. John, you wanted to come in there?
I think also I think the referee may have seen that the guy looked as if he put his foot in Samaras as well. He kind of stood in Samaras's toe. It looked that way, so I think maybe that kind of persuaded him, as well as the little push that the player gave Samaras. But Samaras made the most of it, and it's not a type of British football type of foul, but as you two have already alluded to, in European football, it's given every day of the week. So just happy to receive it, because at the time I thought we were already through. So obviously in hindsight, it's great to have got it.
Absolutely. And the atmosphere there, then, Scott had mentioned earlier on, John, that he thought the atmosphere, was it Richie? Sorry, that thought the atmosphere was a bit flat, but looking back, it was probably all right. Did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I was in the Lisbon land stand, and there was a lot more Irish in there, so obviously it was better crack.
Obviously.
It was freezing. It was -5, so I stood most of the game, stamped my feet, try and keep warm. But it was good atmosphere in the Lisbon lands. I thought it wasn't the best atmosphere I'd ever seen in Celtic Park, but it was pretty decent. There was plenty of singing going on, and I thought it was pretty good atmosphere. I think people who say perhaps it didn't sound as good as Barcelona, but it was certainly a very good atmosphere, and it was full house, so I enjoyed myself.
Fair enough. As long as you're happy, everybody's happy.
Yep.
Richie, looking ahead then into the last 16, a couple of bob in the pocket yet again in this sort of bumper season. We were trying to crunch coefficient points, I can't even say it, over the last couple of days. And also, I suppose, looking ahead at the teams that we can draw in the next round. What's your thoughts?
Well, I'll leave the coefficient points up to the boffins like you and anybody else on Twitter. Just tell me who we get in the draw next year, and that'll do me. As regards teams, I've seen Lennon saying today didn't want Man United. I agree with him on that one. I'd take anybody but them. No, because I think they'll thrash us, just because we've been there. It's just boring, the whole Battle of Britain crap. I don't want them. And Manchester's a rubbish trip as well. Crap city. I'd like... Lennon said he didn't want Dortmund. I'd like Dortmund. It'd be a brilliant trip. Schalke would be good. Malaga. There's loads of brilliant trips in amongst them. There's nobody I'm desperate not to get apart from United, and that's not for football reasons. It's just for my selfish, but I want to go on holiday reasons. So, aye, brilliant. The coefficient, the money is all. The money's a big thing, obviously, for the people who are running Celtic. It doesn't affect us as much, but it makes up for the loss of the Huns, and it's just a massive windfall for the club. So everything's a winner for the club, financial for us. If you ask me who I really wanted to get, I'd say Schalke, just because I like going to Germany, and I think we could beat them.
Scotty, what's your thoughts?
Who do you want?
Yep.
Or do you want me to get into detail like Richie just done there?
Well, you can do. I'm sure you won't agree with everything that Richie said, so if you want to blather around, go for it, son. Yeah,
well, there's a two-way. You do. Richie's exactly fan-wise. I agree with Richie wholeheartedly. You want to go to Germany? Do you want to go to Dortmund and get? I mean, Dortmund get beat today, but the man set half and they were 1-0 up, was touch and go. Dortmund are a fantastic football team, and Bayern Munich are scalping them in the league. So, do you want to really either one of them? No, you want Schalke. Aye, Schalke is a team you really want to get, because they started the season very well, but they've had a wee lull now. They're not as great as they were. And it's Germany, and you can go and get currywurst and buried up and stuff like that. Malaga Malaga, people seem to be underrating Malaga, and which worries me because they were very strong in the group. Again, it's a good trip to go to. Are Man United really the team they were? I mean, you watched them today. Was it two counter-attack goals to take the lead? But again, we're the weakest team in the draw, so it's just a case of. I think that they're all good trips, so I'd like to go to Germany, but I'm not bothered.
The only thing with Germany would be tickets would be a nightmare. You're not going to get tickets in other parts of the ground. You know, the way you would for Malaga or even PSG or even Man United.
We did in Stuttgart.
Aye, but Schalke and Dortmund and Munich, they sell out their stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they'll sell out every week, so tickets would be a nightmare.
Definitely, Schalke have a massive fan base, you know, Gelsenkirchen. I'm just looking at the tables as well for La Liga. Malaga sitting in 4th, so you know, no slouches, definitely not. But John, what's your fancy? Would you take a trip to Spain, trip to Germany, trip to France, trip to sunny England?
I think I don't want Monday either. EPL teams bore me, to be honest, and don't want anything to do with them at all. So I'd like to see maybe Malaga. I think PSG aren't that good of a team. I know on their day they can be very good, but I think our physical approach they might struggle against us a little bit. So PSG, Schalke, or Malaga would be my choice.
PSG could Skype us as well, man. They could really, really batter us.
I know, but I think
Big Ibrahimovic versus Effie Ambrose.
I know what you're saying, but
you could just imagine Big Ibra just looking down on him. So, I mean, just disgusted. What am I doing on the pitch with you?
But that may work to your favour, Scott. If that was the case, you know, if he, you know, but was I reading somewhere recently that Ancelotti, they were saying like he was only going to, if he one more loss or something, they were going to get rid of him. Something mental like that.
See, to be honest though, I think PSG have kind of got the same thing that we've got with regards the players are all concentrating on the Champions League. While we're champions and we know we're going to win the league, I don't think they can. But I mean, I've seen a couple of their games and it's as if they're too good that they don't concentrate for the whole game.
That's what I meant,
in the French League, aye. So I don't know. I didn't like Paris. I didn't like Paris when I went, and I wouldn't fancy playing them.
I don't know.
Sorry, John, I interrupted you there.
Sorry, no, go ahead. I think Paris obviously is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Obviously, I'm more of a bit more class than you, Scott, so that probably explains that. But all joking aside, I don't think the French leagues is that high level of quality that it used to have. I know Paris Saint-Germain have spent a lot of money, but they haven't got superstars all over the team, and I think we could perhaps we could perhaps cope with them. Well, they're not top. I mean, Lyon's still top by a few points, and I think they're second, but they're joint second with Marseille and Saint-Étienne. It's not far behind. So, I mean, just obviously at this stage of the game, no team's going to be easy. But I think I'd be quietly confident that we could give PSG, Schalke, or Malaga a good game if we turn up.
Anybody super confident about going through?
No.
Fair enough. I think I think we were sitting at the start of the journey this year, probably thinking the same thing. So I suppose stranger things have happened, but it's good.
We were talking about last night in the boozer, Marty. See the way we've played. As much as I say, I'm not exactly confident that we'll get through. I'm now of the opinion that we could. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in the past, as you say, beginning of this season, you'd be thinking get to the last 16 and you're happy, and that is the case. But just the way we played against Barcelona does give us, and we certainly know how to set up. So I don't know. You keep it tight in the first game at home, because that's the thing now. Away goals are massive in this stage of the competition. So
I genuinely, I know it's probably I suppose a bit of a cliche now, but I really don't think any team will be looking at us and going, happy days, we're going to Glasgow. You know, I don't think anybody will want to playoffs here. You know,
no, I think we'll go into the second half for the second game still in it. You know, I don't think we'll be. Yeah, we never lost any of the games in the group stage by more than one goal, and we scored apart from Benfica, we scored in every game, I think. So, and we got a load of away goals. So, and we got in the qualifiers as well. So, I don't think we're going to. I'm not confident about us getting through just because of the quality of team we're up against. And you know, people, and those teams like PSG, they'll step up their game when they get to the knockout stages. A lot of the good teams were just coasting through. So, but I would be confident that we'll be competitive in the last 16. I don't think we'll just make up the numbers.
Well, I was listening to one of those phone-ins at the weekend, or I can't remember which one, but they were saying about, the chances are now that Lawwell's going to give Lennon money to buy, to ensure we get through to the next step of the Champions League. But it's unlikely, even if you had money, you're going to get a half-decent player who hasn't cup tied in some competition already. Isn't that right, Richie?
Peter Lawwell's going to give Neil Lennon a load of money to make sure we get through to the last day of the Champions League. That's just sounds ridiculous. Peter Lawwell's just glad to be in the last 16, and he's not going to use up some of the money he's got to get in there to try and get through the last 8. So that's not going to happen. We're not going to sign a £4 or £5 million player in January. We'll get a loan maybe. We'll be the same team. We might hope that a team that we're up against, maybe Malaga or Schalke, might sell one of the better players in January, because we benefited for that with Benfica. I know we didn't beat them, but I mean they sold 2 of their best players just before the Champions League started. So you'd maybe hope Schalke might sell Huntelaar, or Malaga might sell one of their better players, or something like that, rather than us going out buying somebody, because it's not going to happen.
Fair enough. Well, Scotty, do you think there's going to be no transfer movement over the window here, or is there going to be? Is there an area or two maybe on the team that Lennon wants to?
I don't really know, Marty, because you see the new, and for the first time in a long time, coming into January, I think us as Celtic fans are quite content what we've got there. I don't see a real need or urgency to go out and spend money just for the sake of Harry Redknapp selling somebody. Do you know what I mean? If he picks another couple of young guys up who maybe looking forward to next season, or maybe replacing somebody like before somebody goes, if you're expecting somebody to go, maybe. But I don't see a great urge for us to go. I mean, because I still think there's guys in that team who deserve a wee go. We still talk about Dylan McGee. I still like, and Tony Watt. I'd like to see these guys develop in the first team rather than bringing in somebody else. Don't get me wrong, if you're going to get a top-notch player, then party on, bring him in, but as Richie says, that's not really going to happen, is it?
Fair enough. John, what do you reckon will be?
Sorry, just to continue before we go to John, I've no interest in Johnny Russell or Gary Mackay-Stevens coming to Celtic.
Jesus Christ, no. I mean, you really, if you're going to buy anybody, you have to bring in people who are going to be either a step above what you have, or a direct replacement for somebody that you're selling for dough. Neither of them.
Exactly.
Nobody like that fits the bill. Jesus Christ! I hope they're
Are
not
we getting linked with
these
these 2 Egypts again?
Yeah, I don't know, but you just know that
Scott's just throwing it out there.
Because we made the point before the last transfer window shut that Johnny Russell wasn't good enough for Celtic. He'd never be good enough. Has he even had a good season?
Well, I'm just about to say you've not heard much about either one of them this season, have you?
Well, Mackay-Stevens was injured, but he's a half decent player, but he's not good enough for us. And Johnny Russell certainly isn't good enough. He's still living off a good goal he scored at Ibrox, and I think he scored a good goal in the Tayside derby this season. So apparently, in some Celtic fans' eyes, that made him good enough for us, which is ridiculous.
Well, I think we need a centre midfielder who can pick a pass. I think our midfield's too workmanlike, and I don't say that as a negative thing, but it's what we need. Guys like Lee and Wanyama. Wanyama's more box to box. Scott Brown, he puts himself about, but technique isn't great. Shooting, even today, yesterday, he scored that goal. It wasn't a crisp, clean strike. I'd like to get someone in who can put his foot in the ball, who can shoot and pick a pass, because sometimes we're struggling a little bit to break teams down. So if we do spend some money, that's where I like to see it spent in central midfield for someone who's young, energetic, and pick a pass. And I guess that's one of the most difficult positions to get a player for, but hopefully John Park's been scouting Eastern Europe and places like that for some young and up-and-coming guys, because I think that's what we need to improve the team right now.
There's
I
the
think we need a
street.
guy like, sorry, Mark. We
Go
sold
ahead.
we sold Key, who didn't want to be here anymore. We need a similar player to that. I think we missed a player like that in Benfica, somebody who could keep a hold of the ball and no panic. That's one addition. I agree with John there. If we were to add a player, I think Scott's right. You're pretty happy with the squad as it is just now. You seem to, there's a good cohesion in that there. But I think one player we could do with would be somebody who can link the play between defence and attack and no panic, an experienced kind of guy. But I don't know where you're going to get that kind of guy and if he's going to be available for the sort of money we want to pay, which is a loan, probably.
But just to reflect on the money, John, like we're touching 25 million apparently.
I'd say probably more, Marty, to be honest with you. I mean, and a lot of websites are trying to put numbers on there. I mean, we got something like 2.9 million or so. So really just for qualifying. Then we had two. How many qualifying games did we have? Three. One was on the season tickets, so it was two qualifying games at home. Then you had another three home games. Then you had 800,000 for a win and 400,000 for a draw. Is 10 points. So 10 fours is 4 million euros alone for points on the board, and then you had all your money and another 3 million for qualifying for the next knockout stage. So you probably are talking 25-30 million that wasn't budgeted for Celtic. Plus we've sold Key for the guts of 6 million, or probably perhaps even more. And I know the figure wasn't disclosed. So Celtic are sitting where should be sitting where pretty much in the black at the minute, and I think it's a good time to, if we have any ambitions of getting back into Europe and again next season and getting another Champions League run, we need to strengthen and keep the squad together, and B, one or two buys, just quality buys, not guys who are projects. Oh, they can come, of course, but not punts, guys who can come in and do a damage, who can push for a place in the team right now. Because we're not still a finished article. We do labour at times getting the ball forward. I believe in the middle of the park we lack natural width, and sometimes so we need a bit of width and a bit of creativity in the central. So that's where I'd be going for.
Just to suppose to dream a wee bit, if we're not going to spunk all the money on players, what are we going to do with it? Are they going
We're
to
going to
improve
spend it
parts of
on
the...
big bonuses for Peter Lawwell and the other people at the board, big win bonuses for the players. We're going to make up the deficit that the income we've lost because there's no Rangers, and that'll be it. So it's not going to make a big difference to us. The only thing is that we might not have to sell a player, which is good. We might not have to sell one of our better players in January, which is that's the best we can hope for just now. But the money isn't going to. We're not going to go and spend 7 million on a player. We're just stop us from selling. We're not going to sell two players. We might sell one next summer or that kind of thing. So that's good. But that's the
What
position
sorry to
we're in.
interrupt. What was it that at the end of last season?
Was that 500 grand or something?
I think it was
Was
a
it
few
not
million,
something?
wasn't it?
I thought if it
I
is a
don't
few
think.
million, it's a few million. It's not like 10 million. But what
Yeah.
my point was, if you say you paid off your debt, the Celtic don't like to pay off debt because it means that once you're in the black, it's like a Starbucks thing. You have to pay your tax, so they always try and bring it in slightly under,
Yeah.
under the radar. I agree, we're not going to spend big money on any players really, but you'll probably spend your usual 5 mil.
I think Richie's
Bonuses,
been a
new
bit.
contracts, is it going to make up the 30 million? And I suppose what I'm thinking is, will we do anything to the ground or anything structural or strategic?
Well, I think, Marty, I think with Richie, I would disagree with Richie's point there. I think 5-6 million from that money would cover the loss of Rangers and maybe lower attendances. So let's leaves us for 20 perhaps million to spend. You could put 10 million aside for like just future in the bank for rainy day money, so to speak, and you could use the other 10 million for wages increases and perhaps a £5 million, £4 million player. So I think we'll spend some money. Whether we do it in January or July or the summer is of course a different thing, because obviously sometimes January is a little bit difficult to get players in. But I do think we'll spend the money, and I do think we'll keep some of it. But I don't think the 30 million is more than going to cover the loss of finance due to the loss of the monkeys. But so we will be pretty much in the black, and we will be able to invest in the future, whether that's all our projects, I don't know, but I would be confident of seeing at least one quality player brought in.
Okay, well that was pretty comprehensive. So we'll pull the wool down over our eyes here and shift along to the Kilmarnock game. Okay, folks, welcome back to part 2 of this week's Temporary Stand, and it's a look back on yesterday's game. We're recording this on Sunday night, so it's just having a quick look back at the Killie match. And I suppose to start off, Scotty, with you, with the state of the ground and the fact that there was only one stand taken up by the Celtic fans this time, so clearly there was some sort of unofficial boycott operating.
Aye, to an extent. There was because see, Kilmarnock the past few times have been there. Both stands have been used, however, both stands are generally half, maybe 3/4 full. I noticed there was still Celtic fans in one of the other stands as well, is that right? Because usually we get like 2.5 stands at Kilmarnock. So I think there was, again, I was during last week's wee trip to the Carluke Shamrock, we were talking about the Arbroath game and saying it was maybe an easy game to boycott, and well, that could be the same said for Kilmarnock. You can fling up a whole load of reasons. The boycott is just after it's Christmas and Christmas parties are happening. It was 12:30. It was on the telly. A whole load of reasons. I don't think it's. I mean, Craig Burley was quite right to slaughter the Kilmarnock fans. Because I wasn't there myself, and Craig Burley was saying that he thought it was disgraceful turnout for the Kilmarnock fans again, and I agree with that, considering they're not having the worst of seasons. But with regards to Celtic fans, I thought I didn't make much of it, to be perfectly honest.
Fair enough. Richie, you saw the goals. First goal from Scott Brown. Some pretty good work before he managed to ping it in. Right enough?
Aye, it looked good, mate. Aye, I didn't bother watching it. I'm more interested in the big games this no. But I don't really bother with SPL games at all. I don't even watch them. But aye, it looked like a good goal. Aye, Brown took it well. Matthew Adams did well down the right and cut it back to him. So it was a good goal.
Fair enough. John, you going to step up to the plate here and give Brown a bit of credit for his finish?
Yep. Well, he didn't strike it cleanly. I think the keeper got a hand.
So that's a no then.
Did you notice the way I led him up the garden path there?
I'll give Scott Brown his due. He seemed to have a really good game on Saturday. But
John, there's no seems to it. He did. I'm just.
You watched the game, John?
You never watched the game either.
I see the highlights, extended highlights. But he did seem to have a good game. But he hit the ball. Keeper got a hand to it, so he's quite a little bit lucky. Because me and Scott were having this conversation the first day about. I find Scott Brown has difficulty getting power behind his shots. It seems, and that was kind of maybe a wee example of it Saturday. But the ball went in, and it was good work from Brown to start to move off, and he finished it. So all credit to him, and he had a hand in
I couldn't disagree.
Goal as well.
I couldn't disagree more. I thought that he got power behind it, and that's what took it in. If he had tapped it, the keeper would have saved it. It was the fact that he waltzed it. I couldn't disagree more.
Well, if you call that a wilt, Marty, it was in my opinion he hit the ball, but I think in general Scott Brown struggles to get any sort of power behind his shots. See, a little bit Ian McGeady. Ian McGeady was similar. He had similar problems getting his power behind his shots. Just my opinion. Of course, a lot of people disagree, but it's just my opinion. I think technically he's not a great striker of the ball. He hit the shot and it went in. Keeper got a hand to it, but it wasn't very powerful in my opinion.
Fair enough. Scotty, the next
Marty, I kid you not, right? So this is Scott Brown's best game for Celtic in an age. And I know it was Kilmarnock. And we sat and watched, again, I come back to me and John sat and watched the whole Spartak Moscow game. And Scott Brown didn't have a good game on Wednesday night. He wasn't pathetic, but he wasn't great. And he's right what we're saying. We were kind of being critical, but I thought the shot was, considering where the shot came from, I thought it was a decent shot, and he did get decent power into it. He ran the whole game from start to finish, and you can see he grew as a player with regards. They were still leaving boots in, and they were giving him kicks, and they were giving him dunts, and he stood up about it. And if you're going to be critical on Wednesday, you've got to stand up and give him plaudits for Saturday, because it was a great performance for him.
No, I do. I think he seemed to have a really good game.
A tirade saying he
No,
was...
I just says I have question marks about his technique at times. I mean, and I can give him critique as well as I can also give him praise. He had a good game. He had a great pass for Ledley. He was put it on a plate for Ledley. So he seems to be bossing a lot of games now. But is he the real deal? The final what we've been looking for? I'm not so sure. I think ideally next season I would like to see Wanyama's still here, and a creative midfielder in central midfield belongs, and that's Scott Brown.
Richie, save our lives here.
I don't just want him to score goals. I want him to score really, really good goals. And then
I
want perfection. Otherwise, he's rubbish. No, I think most people listening to this are just laughing at John, so like us. So would not make you feel too bad, John. But the guy scored a goal, and you're talking about not being able to hit the ball.
Right, anyway, Joe Ledley.
Joe Ledley. He's a good dancer. But
I was going to say, was it him and Matthews, wasn't it? What was that wee dance about? That seemed to be like a Welsh. The Welsh don't do jigs, do they?
They're not known for their dancing.
What's that, Scott?
Tom Jones can move.
Maybe it was a Tom Jones shuffle, right enough. But an excellent goal, some great work out. Well, from Wanyama principally in the midfield, putting the stamp on it. But a back heel, was it Hooper back heeled the ball back in just before Wanyama sort of spread it. So another excellent goal. I thought the footwork was great.
It was a good cross for Scott Brown. For I'd like him. But like his crosses are very good. I'd like him to maybe hit the ball a lot further. Maybe for a shy or something.
Jesus, neighbour. And the last goal, then Sammy asked with the header, and I heard Lennon say some ridiculous amount of passes, 27 passes or something like that, Scotty, before the damage was done.
It was a really, really good goal. It was a class effort. The thing that stands out for the game, I'm going to again touch on when myself and Johnny were up in Carluke on the Tictalk, was we bemoaned the fact that James Forrest has been missing, and we actually talked about how Adam Matthews being out of the team, along with Izagüerre being injured, but Adam Matthews being replaced with Lustig. Lustig makes us more solid at the back. However, we do lose that attacking, and with Matthews in the team and Izagüerre on the other side, we created a hell of a lot more just with these guys bomb. I mean, their fullbacks and the defenders couldn't touch Matthews' pace yesterday. Just couldn't get near him all day. The boy was outstanding. I think he did go get man of the match, if you say it. But it was brilliant, and I think that's something that Celtic should be looking at. I mean, that again, we went 3-5-2 yesterday for the first time in a wee while, and while it wasn't 100% solid, I mean, that boy Hefferman, he'll maybe take the blame for getting beat yesterday, because I don't know what he was doing with that chance, but it certainly allows us, it makes us look better going forward. And I bet you Gary Hooper and even guys like Lassad and Samaras love when they two play, because the boys are coming into the box. You know what I mean? In a way that we haven't been doing recently in the past few league games.
Well, isn't that the whole point, that we haven't been putting these teams away? We seem to be doing all right away from home, but when we get at home, we freeze. So is this a conscious decision now, do you think, from Lennon moving on? Is he taking place on it, or is he seeing, is he just seeing natural progression? He's going to have to set up differently.
Well, you'd hope so. Sorry, John.
I'll bring you in next, John.
Well, that's you've got to think that Neil Lennon's doing what we're doing, except for he's actually doing it with the players. We're sitting down and we're looking back at a game, and we're finding it hard to put our finger on what's gone wrong. I can understand when see the Arbroath game, I could understand that if that was a one-half. You have all the game, you don't take your chances, you try and walk the ball in the net, and they go up and score right to the death to mug you. But it seems to have happened too many times this season, that we've had all the ball, and we've got beat or we drew. So Neil Lennon he's got to get away and he's got to look at it and he's got to find himself. And I think, I don't know, once Celtic go on a run, then maybe he's cracked it. But I'm still, we're easy enough for next league game we can get back to. I mean, having all the possession, no putting the ball in the box, and then end up getting mugged again. So we'll see. Time will tell with that one.
Fair enough. Richie, Lassad, what do you think? Oh, you didn't see the match yesterday, John. Sorry, I was supposed to bring you in, John. Apologies.
Hey, John, never seen the match either.
I see the extended
Bring me back in. I'm the first person you asked.
Do you want me to tell you this?
I didn't mean to start a fight. John, have you anything to say, or would you like me to pass on to Richard?
No, I like to put my Thomas worth in. That's the point that I was saying earlier. We when Lustig plays, we do lack a natural width. Or if someone like Mulgrew plays left back, our midfield, in my opinion, sometimes too flat when you have Ledley, Commons, Brown, and Wanyama or Kyle in there. So I think if at the moment we don't have natural width with Forrest out of the side, so if we want to get that bit of width in, we have to play guys like Commons and Azagir to get forward. Otherwise, we lack creativity or cutting edge because we don't play a lot of balls through the middle. At Celtic, a lot of our plays down the wing, Samaras, Azagir, Matthews, and even when Commons does play right midfield, on occasions he doesn't really get forward. He kind of drifts. He kind of stays central, or hugs the halfway line. He doesn't really get forward as a natural winger would and get the byline and get a ball in. So I do think we're missing that little bit of wing play and creativity out in the wing. So when Matthews was brought in yesterday, he looked as if he was speeding up and down the line a lot, going to the byline, cutting the ball back, getting balls into the box, and that's going to be great. But it's a comfort to have both horses for courses, where Lustig can play the more defensive games, perhaps away in Europe, and Matthew can play the games where we should be burying teams. So it's a good option to have, and it's a headache for Neil Lennon, but it's a good headache.
Hold on a minute. He asked you about Lassad.
I know.
He did ask about Lassad.
Because you never watched the game, you just started waffling on about Adam Matthews. I could have done that.
I was supposed to bring him in on that point, John. You're technically right, but
Yeah.
I think Lassad looks fantastic. You know, he really, really holds up the ball well, brings other players into play. Exactly the sort of big article we've been looking for up front. So, I suppose that there's not much to say at this point. He's already got himself 2 goals under the belt. But Scotty, Miku wasn't on the bench at all, even on Wednesday night, if I remember correctly. But he came off the bench yesterday. Matt McGlone was peddling the line that he was looking away at Christmas time, and that the loan deal was being suspended or cut short. But somebody else said that he came out and said that wasn't the case, and he was enjoying himself. Is he worth keeping?
I feel I've already. Mickey was on the bench on Wednesday, by the way.
Was he? Sorry, but he didn't come off it, sure didn't.
No. I'd like to think that Celtic would embrace a guy like this. John was touching on earlier on when we were talking about Celtic seem to lack a wee bit of flair, and I would agree to that to an extent. I don't know. Is it worth persevering with a player if you're only... what was the name of that? Was it Brozak fella, the Polish fella we had last year? If we're just going to do with Miku like we did with him, then is there any real point having him there? I don't think we're ever going to really afford the buyout fee that's been talked about with him. So, but the boy is a class act. So I mean, I don't know, that game against Barcelona, it really, really impressed me. I came away saying I would start him against Benfica. But we spoke about it. I would have started against Benfica, but there's Gary Hooper does the job again against Spartak. So I don't know. At this junction, I wouldn't be greeting into my suit if he left next week. Do you know what I mean? He's not made that much an impact that I would lose any sleep about it personally.
Fair enough. Anybody else got any stronger thoughts on Scott? No.
Okay. I have a wee bit of thought on him. I just think he's a good player, but he's perhaps not suited to Celtic. It's one of those things, and it's lucky that we didn't fork out the money for him, because I don't think it's going to work out for him. Could be proved wrong.
I'd be very surprised if that's true about the buyout clause. I can't see Celtic signing up that. No problem. you know, at the start of or in August when you just qualify for the Champions League, you know you're guaranteed whatever, but you're going to sort of spunk out 8 million of it at the end of the season.
No, but I don't think it's. I think it's like the Arthur Boric buyout fee. If you actually want him at the end of it, this is what it's going to cost you. I don't think it's a case of we're committed to buying it.
No,
we
I know.
get first dibs. I think that's what it means.
First dibs, but that's my whole point. The Baruch deal was $1.5 million. This is 8 million. I can't see Lawler going on, no problem.
But if the boy comes in and makes a big impact in the Champions League, then he's making you money for that loan, isn't he?
Well, the point is you could afford him. You know, with the money we get from the Champions.
Ultimately we could get him, but again, at least that's why we're seeing if he's worth. I mean, I always say that about Jelavic. See, when the current ones go to Jelavic, I thought it was a smashing deal for them because they could have punted him for £4 million about 4 months later on. Jelavic came in, hit the ground running, but they kept a hold of him, and they end up, I think they get their money back on him. That's sometimes Celtic have kind of got to look. I'm not an advocate for going to spending big anymore, right? Because we've seen what's happened to them. We don't really want to get ourselves in a bad. But see, to be honest, I mean, again, Boomsong, I know Souness was involved, but they got Boomsong for nothing and they punted him 6 months later. See if there's a deal like that to be had for Celtic. Because that Miku down at Swansea, he's a prime example. If you can pull somebody in and you've got to pay £4 million, but you reckon in 6 months' time you could punt him down to England, then I think sometimes a wee gamble that's worth taking.
Oh, well, that's what Wanyama is. You know, that's you bring him in and flog him on fatten him up and flog him on. Right, I want to pull the curtains down on the Killie game then and move on to part 3. Okay, we're on to part 3. Just as we're chatting here tonight, the Scottish Sports Awards are on, and Neil Lennon has picked up the Sunday Mail Award for something to do with being great, outstanding Scottish football personality or something along those lines. But Richie, can I come to you because Lennon was quoted, I suppose, in a softy interview over the weekend, saying that at some stage he'd like to move to England, which is fair enough. I think every manager has a shelf life, but. You know, what are we looking at? He's led a team into the last 16. Strachan didn't exactly get any plum jobs. Where do you think in the English pecking order would he fit if he chose to go?
I don't know. We probably should sack him for saying that, really, shouldn't we?
Jesus.
Well, we should get a manager in. We should get a manager in who's no ambition other than to manage Celtic for the rest of his life. But oh no, I think he's got more shelf life than Stratton because Stratton had been there and done it. You know, he wasn't on the way up when he came to Celtic. He had plateaued, or even he was on the way down. And he's definitely on the way down since he got sacked at Middlesbrough. But Lennon's on the way up. He's up and coming. He speaks well. He's got Celtic to the last 16, playing some good football, and he's most importantly for other chairmen probably that he's bought a load of players and then flogged them for a lot more money. Like Wanyama, well, we've not sold Wanyama yet, but you know, that kind of player. So I think he'd have to be another couple of years at Celtic and win the league again, get a bit more experience. I wouldn't say in this next summer he'd be offered a big job in England. You know, so you know, I'd say down in England he's maybe a Paul Lambert type or something like that. So he'd be looking at a Norwich job or something. It wouldn't be a top 6 or top 8 job he'd be looking for. So I've no problem with it. I'd say he'll be here for another 2 or 3 years, as long as the club want him here, and we'll see how he does there. You know, he's not going to be able to. This might be the last time he gets us to the last 16 in the Champions League as Celtic manager, because you know it's going to be harder to qualify next. So, how much is he going to be able to impress people by winning the SP at a one-team league every year? So you know that he'd have to take a step down in England to make his way there, so he'd even end up at a championship team or something. I don't see how. Maybe a team like Swansea or something if Michael Laudrup, but he's not going to end up at a top 6 team or Liverpool or anything like that. He knows that himself, I'm sure, anyway.
Scotty, do you agree?
Aye.
Scott always agrees with what I say, Marty.
Aye.
Not true.
No, I agree. I never ever thought it the way you said about Stratton there. That's a decent point, but again, Richie's kind of covered it well. You don't want a guy with no ambition managing your team. Neil Lennon, in relative terms in football management, is a young guy. He's doing. God, we're all desperate to go to Scotland, so sure as Christ, Neil Lennon will be the exact same. and he'd like to go and try and sell it. But I agree with Richie. I mean, he's not going to get a top job. If he left Celtic tomorrow, he'd be talking about Championship.
I
John,
can't with that.
John, what do you think?
I don't agree with that there. I think if he left Celtic tomorrow, the teams like Southampton and all would have an eye on him for the reasons that Richie kind of alluded to, where he can bring players in, young players, and he can perhaps get add-on sell-on value. And he's in the business. He's young. He's a bit of fire in his belly. A lot of there's not too many coaches down south who are like that. I think Neil Lennon will look after Neil Lennon, and rightly so to a degree. I think he'll use Celtic for a springboard, and Celtic will obviously use him. But I think success at Celtic is a lot to do with other. It's not just Neil Lennon. He's got a good backroom team, and John Park's obviously a pivotal person in getting guys in. So I guess if Lennon did leave, he'd look to bring Alexa Park with him. But he will inevitably leave sometime, and it's just up to Celtic to make sure they're on the ball this time. If he does leave and get the right person in, and not go for an overpaid Tony Mowbray type manager.
Fair enough. Well, I don't
Just
think...
got the last 16 and we're talking about losing our manager and replacing him.
Well, it's not that. I mean, he mentioned himself, and it's the way these things come up in an interview. It's like saying, "Would you like something for Christmas?" And you say, "Well, obviously, I'd like something for Christmas." So I don't think anybody begrudges him saying, "Well, one day I'd like to manage at a higher level than Scottish football."
What did he say when they asked him what he wanted for Christmas?
It's 2 front teeth.
Oh, John.
Anyhow, let's move swiftly on. So there's not much else to say. I think we've covered most of the things over the weekend, and between I suppose, Scotty, you had a very odd experience last week. You and the erstwhile Forbes Junior from this sainted podcast ended up in deepest, darkest South Lanarkshire, is it? At Carluke?
I think I'm not sure if they're south or north. I think they must be south. Anyway,
what way did you go? Where did you go through?
Oh, the back roads, man. It's deepest, darkest. That really is. I mean, there was no road lights or nothing, man.
Tell us a wee bit about why you were there and what the whole thinking was. It was your idea initially, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's really no took off yet, but hopefully we'll get. I think we're going to try and return the favour. Is that right? And
tell the listeners why you went down.
Basically, is hopefully everybody knows by now, we're part of Hail Media, which is a group of podcasts. You can subscribe on iTunes through it and Spreaker and stuff like that. Anyway, I'd made a suggestion. I'd been on the flight to Barcelona, and there was a fella listening to a Hail Media podcast beside me, and I said to him, did they listen to yours? And he'd said no. So I went back to the guys, the gaffer, Harper and stuff like that, and I said, well, why don't we do a wee mix up? So if anybody just listens to one podcast, we do a wee mix up, and then you learn a wee bit more, or you hear a different voice to what you're used to. So I'd flung this up, and Richard came back to me and said, do you and Johnny fancy coming out to Carluke and joining the Tictalk show for 1 week? So me and Johnny drove through, and we took a wee case of beer for the lads for having us up there, and they've got a smashing wee setup, whereas we do in Skype, they sit around a table, and it's a different experience. It's good. All the guys there, they were all, fairness to them, they're all very knowledgeable about football. They're all members of the club, and they're all nice guys. They treated us really, really well, and I had a great time. It was a smashing experience. And as I say, I'd like to get them back on, either coming on with us or going on with one of the other shows, and just hearing from them and hearing their experiences and stuff, because they treated us really well, and I'd like to reciprocate, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you haven't listened to it, you can get it on Hail Media, last week's TikTok. There you go.
And I hope, fingers crossed, we can get some of the lads on here, as you say, and indeed, if the other guys from the other Hail Media podcasts are listening, we'd love to have you on too. Richie, you had a much different experience during the week on a form of public transport. Would you like to come clean to the listeners and tell them what you did?
It's not that good a story, but we were on the...
It makes you sound stupid, so go for it.
I'd say, being on this podcast every week makes me sound stupid, but we had a few drinks and we were in the Brazen Heat, and we had a few scoops, and we left. The Brazen Heat bus came, and I went outside. I was like, oh, that's strange, there's no bus. And there was a bus about a couple of minutes walk away across the road. So I just thought, oh, that must be it. Now, I'm not a regular in the Brazen Heat. I like to drink in a higher class establishment usually. Maybe the Vogue Bar in Rotherham or something like that. But Scott wanted to go to the Brazen Heat, so we went there. And I got on the bus. I couldn't see anybody, and I was on the phone to Johnny, and I was saying, where are you? And he said, I'm outside the bus. And I was like, well, I'm on the bus. And he's like, no, you're not. I turned round, and then I saw John's Belfast John, who's on this podcast at the moment. And I turned around and I saw him coming on the bus. I said, that's all right. I must be on the right bus because there's John's. And turns out we're on the wrong bus. A bus I don't even know whose bus we were on. Thankfully, it was a Celtic.
What was it, 267 or something?
No, thankfully it was a Celtic supporters bus and it was going to the game.
Did you pay?
He asked us. No, I never paid or anything like that. And the bus was full, and I was sitting, and there was people who came on. Did you pay? Aye.
You paid, you liar.
I fucking did. £3.
You're joking.
Aye.
You went to clear it back.
How did that happen?
I opened a bottle of beer and I near had a heart attack as well. You don't want to drink nipples.
That's when we knew. That's when we knew it wasn't the Brazen Heat bus.
Exactly.
Well, to be fair, the reason why I ended up on the bus is because I seen Richie's large head from a distance, and I followed him in a drunken stupor. So I just followed Richie.
So can we get anybody to let us know what buses they were on?
If you're listening to the
bus is it, and what pub does it leave for?
Could you tweet? If there was a bunch of strange characters on your bus, you hadn't had a clue who they were, and they got you £1,000 fine off the cops, could you tweet at temporary stand and let us know who you were, and we'll send the bill to Richie?
I also rode for the Brazen. It was nice, comfy seats.
It was a
Some of your members had to stand, but me and John's I got a seat.
Nightmare. Right, lads, that's it. Listen, thanks very much. I know it's getting late on a Sunday, and I just want to thank you all for coming on. So, Scotty, good night and God bless.
Cheers, Marty. Well done, lads.
And Richie, take it easy, son.
Cheers, all the best.
And John, Christmas is coming. Have you opened your wallet yet?
Marty, you don't understand the money problems I've had this last 2 weeks.
Just as an aside, did I tell you the story about Santa? Richie, Scott?
That's lies.
Go on, tell us.
It was my child's second birthday party last week, and Santa was coming to the birthday party last Sunday. And John and his family were out shopping on Saturday. And I hope there's nobody underage listening to this podcast, but my dad did Santa at the child's party. He was dressed up because he's fat and he has a red face. He's the best Santa you'll ever see in your life. So John and his wife and the children were out the day before shopping. And he told his kids they weren't allowed to go and see Santa because Santa was coming to the party the next day.
That's lies.
Instead of paying for his kids to go and see Santa, they were sitting on my dad's knee.
The reality was the shop centre Santa only
That's time up, lads. I'll see you later.
That's time up. Aye, that's all the best.
That's all tonight from the temporary stand. Good night and God bless. Thanks very much.
That's us for another week. Hopefully the rest of the lads get their finger out when we start putting these pods out with a wee bit more regularity. As I said in the pod, we're hoping to return the favour to the Tictalk lads and get them on a pod and see what they're all about. Any suggestions, queries, complaints or moans, you can direct them as always to @CelticChuck. So all correspondence can be sent to Twitter or to @TemporaryStand. You can email us on temporarystand@hailhailmedia.com, or you can get us in any of the usual message boards. That's us for another week, so good night, God bless, and hail hail.